the Gov and the Dems?
I think that there is a little bit of rockiness. I mean, interestingly, Ritter has sided with some Republicans on education reform issues, and that has made some of the education members unhappy, those who, as you call them, the unions, the CEA folks. But I think that there is a sense that there's not the communication skills are down. People are frustrated about it. But I always say, I mean, I didn't cover the legislature during '03 and '04, but I hear it was a nightmare, and I hear there was growing unhappiness with Governor Owens at the time, who you might recall insisted there was no budget crisis until he was in this studio debating Ref C, and all of a sudden, we have an enormous budget crisis, we have to have the money.
The entire state's on fire.
Right, so I think part of that is, if we were rolling in the dough, would you be as unhappy with your governor? I don't think so.
Although I think Democrats understand that Ritter is vulnerable. Even
I think
your
Ritter
paper
understands that Ritter is vulnerable.
Your paper several times have editorialized hinting that he could be a one-term governor. He's got to know that.
Well, the Post editorial page has never really loved Ritter that much.
They endorsed him.
Yeah, but they haven't loved him that much. You remember the big spanking he got?
Front page.
Front page spanking. You know, Ritter.
Best editorial ever.
I thought you liked the Ref C one.
Worst editorial
okay. I'm
ever.
confused.
You know, we have
Both front pages.
2010 is going to be a wild election season because we're going to see what happens. We don't know how the economy is going to be coming out of Washington, what people are going to be held accountable for with what's going on with the economy. Bennett obviously is going to be vulnerable too. So what we're going to see with the Republicans, they've had fun this year, but now they've really got to step up and see who are there going to be, their candidates.
They've got two possibilities here because Ritter is vulnerable and Bennett, nobody, outside of Denver, nobody knows
think
it.
Of this.
The
At the end of December, they were like, oh, we're not going to, 2010, we hope to pick up some legislative seats. And then within the space of a week, Salazar steps down, Bennett comes in, everybody's mad at Ritter for the Bennett appointment. I mean, overnight, these guys are like.
But the problem is,
but they're still not getting organized.
My team has no bench. So
you know what?
Who's going to run against? Let's go with Ritter first. Talk to me a little bit about how Josh did. Josh Penry, who's rumored to run for governor. He's really young. He's been very successful. I think he's very well respected in the legislature.
I think some people thought he really helped run that Senate quite a bit. I mean, he had the confidence of Peter Groff. They think they worked together on some issues well. They were able, they got the gun bill through, things that you wouldn't have thought. Some days I thought Josh was running that place.
But being popular in the legislature and efficient there does not necessarily translate to a campaign. And now we have Scott McInnes, who looks like he's taking a run at the governorship.
Well, and will Josh be there? Because is it going to be the Joan Fitzgerald factor? Can you really stay in the legislature and run for a major seat? It was different back when you had Marilyn Musgrave and Doug Lamborn running for Congress way back in 2002, was it the first year?
Because they were not in leadership positions.
Well, even then, even if you weren't in leadership, it was the races kicked off later. It was just a whole different environment than it is now.
And those weren't as hotly contested. I mean, you're thinking how much you would have to travel to really go out and campaign for that seat.
Well, especially when you realize that Josh is probably GOP rival Scott McInnes, who's working as an attorney, but in essence is free 24/7 to go to events and make phone calls and announcing he's a candidate for governor.
It seems as though those two are the ones who are going to battle it out on the Republican side. And I don't know if the Republicans can handle a hot primary.
Do you think by the end, though, it'll be a primary? I keep thinking it'll settle itself before then.
I'm hoping so, one way or the other. The Senate seat, now that's going to be fun. There's whispers that Beaupre might be looking at it again, and apparently he polls all right on that, but after such an embarrassing loss 2 years ago.
Yeah, but he ran for governor.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So we're talking about
already. Right.
No, but we're talking about Senate now.
Yeah,
but it's the same voters, it's the same statewide
same voters, but there's a sense he's always liked Washington a lot, and well, you've got Ken Buck has announced.
Ken Buck, I know that one's going to be wild.
And then Frazier, who is the long shot here, but here you have an African American who's very articulate, who's a city council member, and if you've got somebody who was a school superintendent just 6 months ago, well, maybe a city councilman could do it as well.
And Ryan Frazier is a very compelling speaker.
Okay, to compare the head of running DPS to being an Aurora City Council member, John.
I'm saying the
Take
point
a
of being,
reality
no,
pill.
no, the
My
difference-
God.
The ability for somebody, a United States senator who's only been in office for 3 years, to bump to president. I'm suggesting that we're getting to the point where working the ladder of politics is not the same as it used to be.
Being an RTD director to going to running the Independence Institute.
That's
And
it.
having a
My
TV show.
Talk
That's it.
about moving on up.
Right down, moving on up.
I think
All
we'll
right.
still see some more candidates coming out, but this is going to be the wild. It's going to
And
be
you
a
didn't
wild
bring up
year.
Ryan's big across appeal. He's, he's liberal on the social issues.
He's liberal on the social issues. That's going to kill it.
That's the independent.
Right.
He might kill him in the primary, but it's the
It's gonna
same
help him in
reason
the
Ritter
general.
was so popular in the general.
All right.
Next.
Why are none of you talking about the real focus that was the talk of the session, which was that great American, Jon Caldara, that seemed to be the heartbeat?
Do you love me?
I loved you for
Put
that.
you in the lead. I thought I was going to faint. Chris Romer gets up. Chris is a wild card, a lovable wild card, and talks about, well, if Jon Caldara's for it, that great American.
Great American, right here.
I wish they'd had a camera trained on the faces of people. Oh my God, I'm shouting. I'm Evie Hudak. Evie, I'm only kidding.
Now, it was over sentencing reform, which is something that a lot of Republicans have a hard time talking about. I see it as a budgetary issue.
It's a critical thing to talk about.
Yeah, it's a critical thing to talk about, and Chris is willing to look at it. So
If Jon Caldara, that great American. And I sent him $150.
he gave me $150. Not personally,
Well,
unfortunately.
which he's going to turn around and use to screw the Democrats every chance he can get,
No,
which is why everybody was in shock.
We did this great event on sentencing reform, and he was so excited he was there. He held up his checkbook and he wrote us a check, and then afterwards he said, I need a photocopy of that, because on the memo he said for sentencing reform. And so I photocopied it, but I put in to protect Tabor on the memo and send it back to him. Because he knows he's going to get called on it.
Well, and it would
As
have
he
been.
should.
You are a great American, and it would have been a very dull session if you hadn't had your pig roast over at the Capitol.
Pig roast. Talk about the Tea Party. That was an event. If you were there, we had 5,000, 6,000 people. I've never seen an event.
And
like
here's
that.
the part that shocked me. My favorite sign was the person who said, thanks, President Obama. I've lost whatever amount of money in my 401k. And I'm like, was this person frozen and then came to life on January, 21st?
Did he
Let
miss
me tell you how
when-
much I lost in my 401k last year. Different president, different party. I mean, come on. Where were you, John, if you're that true libertarian, that great American that you are?
You heard me bitching about Bush for years.
Where was
as
your
well.
rally?
On the west steps of the Capitol.
April 15th of last year. Where was your rally?
I should have done one. You know what? I should have done one. And you did. Did you hear my words when I took my own party to task just as much? No, you weren't there. You just like to throw
I had
those
another
things. I'm a
assignment.
great American.
I answer
damn
to
it.
people.
Great American. I'm not talking to you.
You
I'm
went
going
like
over.
this. I'm a great American.
Great American. I'm
No,
a great
but it
American.
was really interesting, and a lot of those people are, when you go out there, they're very heartfelt. They remember when their 401k went down.
Best sign was, I hate that you made me a protester. Favorite sign.
That is a
Now
good
that
sign.
is a
That was
good sign.
That was a good one. All right. Thank you. We're out of time. That's
Mike,
it.
we are? We weren't even funny this time.
You never are. Patty, thank you. Lynn, thank you. And thank you. Tell a friend about the Independence Institute, independenceinstitute.org. Yeah, tell them. Come on over. Listen for me late nights on 850 KOA. Tell a friend. We'll see you next week.
You jabber jab, bamboozle, nuka, noozle, bippity bop, she-go. You jabber jab, bamboozle, nuka, noozle, bippity bop, she-go. I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off.